Hello everyone, I'm Martin Cervantes.
And I am Santiago Vasquez. Welcome to the Dotte Pod,
where communication truly matters.
9,
8,
5,
3,
1.
lift off.
Left up. It is the Cuban
Missile Crisis.
It is here.
with us.
No
Here
longer.
with us in person.
Wait.
Live.
No longer 90 miles away from the peninsula of Florida. It's right here in KCK. We are excited. We have the one and only
Julian Marquez.
Julian Marquez. For those who speak Spanish out there, this is exciting.
Yes.
This man is kicking butt. I was going to say ass, but
It's all right.
I'm sorry.
Donkey.
We're here.
We're here.
We're excited because
The energy. I love it.
why are we so excited? First of all, I am nobody. I'm involved in the martial arts, and I love the martial arts ever since I was a little kid. And now I am in front of a man who's got a chance of becoming the next UFC middleweight champion of the world. For all we know, he might even force the Canadian George St. Pierre to come out of retirement and fight him. Who knows? Money talks, right?
Money
talks. So
Yeah.
this man right here has an outstanding professional record of 11 fights, 9 victories. 9 out of those victories have come via KO, 3 by submission. The amazing thing is this, right? The last 3 victories, Anaconda, guillotine, and rear naked choke.
Modified rear naked.
That's right, modified, right?
It is an honor, a pleasure to have Julian here with us. He is, if you don't know his family, we watch him grow up, and now I need to stand up to be his height, when he's sitting down, So no, we're honored. It is an honor, a pleasure to have him here with us after watching his last fight, man. It was exciting. It was crazy. We were jumping up and down. I know your dad was.
I don't think my dad likes to watch fights with anybody. I don't know.
No,
if he's
he
with
likes to be
anybody.
alone.
Yeah, he likes to be alone. That's something him and I have similar. I don't know what it is, but when we have people around us, when we watch somebody that we care for, training partners, things like that, we can't be around others because it's just it's a roller coaster of emotion. So I don't know how you guys can sit in a group full of family and friends.
It is more exciting,
Listen, so you're super hyper, super charismatic. It's something that I love. I seen your crazy video rolling and skating. I don't know where you were, but I was laughing. That was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Now, we like to start our conversations with asking the guest, would you please tell us a little bit about your cultural background and ethnicity?
So I was born and raised here in Kansas City, Missouri. Well, we're in Kansas right now.
That's fine.
But it's fine. It's
you
still
belong to
home.
us here.
It's still home.
It is home.
It's the same. I grew up in the Northland. My family, our heritage, our ethnicity, we're Cuban-American. We brought all of our family over in the early 90s, and we're very, very close, from aunts, uncles, cousins. Growing up, it was an amazing blessing that every morning I'd wake up, I'd see a great aunt, great uncle, cousin sitting there drinking coffee with my abuela and papo, and it's something that helped mold who I am to this day, my character as well. But that's pretty much where we started it all off.
And let me tell you, their coffee is amazing.
Best.
Best.
Believe me.
Yes.
I'll take that man right there across the street. I introduced him to Cuban coffee. He almost died that first day.
Wow. Every one of my friends that come over and they're like, "Hey, you want some coffee?" They always question, "Why is it in this small little?"
That's right.
Like they're over here drinking the Folgers, makeshift stuff that you get at Target or Walmart, and I'm like, "Oh man, this is gonna be fine." We had a friend that drank a little bit of that coffee one time, and he was his job, he owned a mowing company, and he said he was wired the whole entire day. He didn't know what was going on. He'll never take another sip from him.
Now, you mentioned that your cultural heritage, your Cuban background has molded your character. And also, based on what I have read, it has also shaped the discipline that you have that is required for you to become the MMA fighter that you are today.
Yeah, I would say that it's just in our blood. Like we fight for everything that we've ever done. I watched my family, come from Cuba. Family members come from Cuba as I was growing up. They would live in the spare bedroom. The whole family, like, would have literally aunts, uncles, and cousins living in one room. You had 4 people in one room, so they would slowly get on their feet, and they never complained. They never, moaned. They just sat there, got the job done. And if you look at it, fast forward to today, these, family members have, $100,000 homes. They have their own company, their own business. They started literally from $0 and created a lifestyle that most people would dream of. So I got to witness that firsthand growing up, of watching what hard work, dedication, and just closing your mouth and doing it.
I think a lot of our different cultures here, we can relate to that. Migrating to the U.S. for a better life, and sacrificing to have a better life, to better ourselves, to live the American dream.
As an immigrant, I can correlate with this man right here. So I'm excited about it. So now, how in the world did you get involved? Number one, and then were you one of those Karate Kids type of guys, or were you a wrestler? How this process, this evolution? You're a very smart guy, and all of a sudden you find yourself fighting, and you have cauliflower ears, and you remind me of my grandfather, who was a professional boxer. And I go, man, this guy should be in Hollywood making movies with a beard like that and it looks like that. I'm like, what's going on here?
It's one of those things. Back when I was a kid, growing up with our family, I don't know if a lot of people don't know, but Hispanics like to party for anything.
Yes.
We like to throw a party. Literally, you turn 16, we're going to throw the biggest party in the world. Literally, the full moon came out, we're throwing the biggest party in the world. It's just, and that's how it is. And whenever there would be boxing matches coming up, we would always gather and have it. I'll never forget, one of the biggest boxing matches was Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya. They both went against each other, but the party that we had at the house was monumental. It was probably the biggest party I've ever seen, with family members, friends, and we had cake. To me, I thought it was someone's birthday, but it wasn't. It was just to watch this amazing fight between 2 professional athletes, and it would just always happen. Every time we see Tyson, we'd all get together. It brought the family together, unify us. And it was just a great time for us. And then as well, my dad and I, we'd watch like Pride Fighting together. We'd watch all these different types of martial arts, and we do it together. So it just kind of it just started molding into me, like, man, I want to be this reason why my family gets together and throws a party. I want to be a reason to bring the family together.
And this is what's happening now. We get together to watch him fight. We drove to Minnesota to watch him fight. We went to Vegas a couple of times. We couldn't go to Canada because we were working. But yeah, we get together, and you're the reason why we have all these parties now. Yeah. To watch you fight. Absolutely. The gatherings, the getting together, and
And they're huge, like this last one. Look, they sent me a photo when I was, after my fight, I saw the photo, and it looked like there was at least 30 people in this photo. It was ginormous. But it's not only just in one household, there's multiple households. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that during the COVID times, it's very difficult to bring everyone together. So, you'll have 20 people in this household, 30 people in this household. So I know when things start lifting, everyone gets comfortable, it's just going to be back to those monumental parties where our families are going to gather together. But that's kind of what gave me the energy to pursue down this path. And I did track and field, and I did football in high school, junior high, but something was about it. My dad, one of my teachers, they were talking, and my dad was like, hey, I want him to get into some other sports. What is something you want? My teacher was like, I'm also the wrestling coach, and I was in 8th grade, and my dad was like, done. He's gonna he's going to do wrestling from here on out. And my dad told me it was either that or basketball. And I sucked at basketball. So wrestling was like, all right, we'll go there. And I thought it was WWE, by the way. I legit thought it was WWE. I thought I was going to jump off the top ropes. I thought I was going to kick someone in the sternum and give him the Stone Cold Stunner. That's literally what I thought wrestling was at the time. Lo and behold, it was not.
Yeah. Well, you have the character of a WWE wrestler in the sense that you're never boring. Those interviews with you are like
amazing.
I mean, it's like I just want to see this interviews after he wins the fight. I want to see the interview because
of course,
it's like
you fighting is the main thing.
Yes,
watching you fight and you put on the show and you give it all, during that time. But then after that, we're like, okay, what's Julian gonna say now? What's next? After the fight, the interview, and all that. So,
as long as he doesn't say my, what got hot.
Go Derek Lewis. I can't steal that from Derek. But
he owns it.
This is the thing: is
they
that
have the copyrights.
we're in the entertainment business, and when you're on TV, you only have 15 minutes or less to really stand out amongst the rest. And with me, I've done trial and error for 31 months. No one really batted an eye or paid attention to me during the process of my recovery, but I paid attention to everybody else. I listened to what everyone was saying. I listened to what everyone wasn't saying. I saw what would get the crowd up. I saw what would get the crowd down. So I understood what the entertainment was, and it just goes with my personality. Like, I'm an entertainer. If I took a personality test, it would come back and say, you're an entertainer, because that's what I am. I entertain you in the fights. I entertain you with my style, and I entertain you with my words. And that is exactly what the UFC has been needing for the longest time. They need Julian Marquez. Yes, I'm speaking in third person, but I'm speaking fast.
Mr. Dana White, he knows that. He knows that you are quite entertaining, so I don't know if he's listening to us or he will listen to us. But guess what? You're going to have to start writing those checks because the victories are coming.
Yes.
So the more they come, the more money you have to pay.
More checks.
Right? Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the business.
It is a business, and there'll be times where, the checks will come, 2 checks, 3 checks, 4 checks, backdoor checks. It doesn't matter. The money's always great. But I do this because I love it. This is what I live for. This is who I am. This is where I want to be. I spent 31 months not being able to have what I love, not being able to do what I love. And I spent my entire life for moments like these.
Well, I would like to get into that. So you wrestled throughout high school, and you also went to college, and you got your associate's degree. Did you wrestle in high school? I mean, in college?
Yeah, I wrestled in college, and I got kicked off the wrestling team and kicked out of college. I wasn't always the greatest kid. Okay. I wasn't, and that's why I'm down this path. If I was the best college student, I would be an accountant, I would be working for NASA, or I'd be a business guy. One of the few that I have. And I wasn't always the best high school student. I wasn't the best college student. I didn't go there for the school because it just wasn't for me. But I was almost pushed by everybody else to go to college. So I went to college to almost please everybody else. Yeah. Because everyone thinks that you have to do college. No, I could have went to trade school, but what I loved was competition. So I went to college for wrestling, and that's not why you should go to college for a sport. And it just got me into trouble, and I got into trouble, and I got an argument with the head coach. Him and I didn't see eye to eye, and basically said, look, you can go. So I ended up going there, and since I didn't have wrestling, it was just like, all right, well, since I'm off wrestling, I don't want to keep paying for this college because it's too much money out of pocket. So it's like, all right, I left there, went to Maple Woods, started paying, per credit hour out of my own pocket, working a day job, working multiple jobs, training, and I ended up getting my associate's degree because I wanted to get that. And the moment I got my associate's degree, I decided I don't ever want to go to college anymore. Because I got a degree. I mean, whoever wanted me to go, happy, because I'm more than just high school. I gave college a try. I gave it a good effort. And it just wasn't for me.
Let me take you back to your first wrestling match in 8th grade. You had this in mind, right? WWE, getting all crazy and jumping on people and all that. Then you get to training. What was your like, wow, were you like, what is this?
Yeah, I was completely confused. When I spoke to my teacher at the time prior to it, because again, I had my teacher all year. And wrestling starts in like October, beginning of November. And we sat there and we spoke about it. And I'm over here like, where's there going to be ropes? Is there going to be stairs? Am I going to jump off a ladder? Like, can I hit the people's elbow? And they started laughing. She's like, no, it's completely different. And he like showed me some videos and I was like, oh, like, well, what is this? He's like, well, you know, it's either you're going to either win by yourself or you're going to lose by yourself, but your team's going to support you regardless. And I didn't really comprehend what that meant. Whereas football, basketball, soccer, you have teammates that you're counting on. So if, you know, one person drops a pass, one person gets the ball stolen from them, like, you may have the greatest game in the world, but that person is the one that, you know, caused you guys the loss. Yeah. And I don't want to put that on there, but that's how it is. Whereas in wrestling, it was informed to me that if I lose, it's my fault. If I win, it's my fault. If I get disqualified, it's my fault. There's really nothing that will alter that feeling, and it's very true. So when I went out there, I wrestled in practice, and I didn't know what it is. I'm like a kid, just like stiff as a board. You grab me, I grab you. They're like easily taking me down because I don't know what takedown is, and you know they're on the ground, and I'm still grabbing hold of them. And took a little while to really understand what wrestling was, but I started understanding the feeling like, oh, I just got my butt kicked. This guy just wouldn't let me get up. I got taken down all the time. I got pushed around. I got, you know, manhandled. So it's like, that just made me like, oh, I don't ever want this feeling.
Okay.
You know, at in 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, I didn't want the feeling like, to me, it didn't matter how much money you make. It didn't matter how much, you know, how like wealthy or popular you are. At the end of the day, there's people out there that can literally, at the ultimate way, is say, I can beat you up.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, well, I got $1 million. Well, I can kick your butt. You know, and then what's next? Like, can you defend yourself? And they're just like, I got money. Well, that really doesn't mean anything. And I never wanted to feel helpless in my life. I never wanted to feel to the point where I couldn't defend myself, my family, the people around me if something ever were to happen. You know, God forbid it doesn't, but I just wanted to be prepared for any type of situation like that. Yeah. And through that process, it kept a lot of people away from me and my family in high school. So a lot of people feared me. Obviously, my look, I'm a bigger kid. Most people don't realize that. But it definitely, like, no one picked on my brother. No one picked on me. No one really did anything with my family in high school when it's probably the most ruthless thing in the world. High school people are very mean and they're judgmental, but it helped me out.
So you finish your college career, you go through high school, college, now you graduate, you get your associate's degree. Now what? What do you do with all this? What happens now? Because I know you had 3 amateur MMA fights. How did you get involved in mixed martial arts?
Man, it's a wild story. I went to school and I honestly was going to go to the fire department. I was going to try the railroad. I was like, man, I didn't really care. Those are good platforms to make money. But there was a friend of mine that I wrestled in high school. His credentials in high school were superior than most. I mean, he was a 4-time state champion. He would kind of cheat and go with an alias name to wrestle in college because of these open tournaments. But he's a high schooler. He's like a sophomore, junior when we were there, and he was winning college tournaments. He would forfeit the match in the finals because he couldn't win under the alias name. He would literally go all the way, make it, and say he hurt himself just because if they found out that this person was doing that, you know, it'd be a huge ordeal because you can't wrestle at 16 with 18-year-olds. It's against college rules. Well, anyways, so he called me up one day, and I had a day off of work. I was working at Red Robin at the time, and he kind of called me up and was like, "Hey," he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, sitting at home. He said, "Good, come outside. We're gonna go to this gym. They're looking for wrestlers." I was like, "Okay." I just went outside. He was sitting out there. Jumped in the car. We drove 30 minutes away to this place called K2L Grindhouse,
Okay.
which was inside of, it was like partnered up next to a church. And it was like a facility with Taekwondo students, and it had a little bit of dabble of mixed martial artists in there. And they had some of the biggest names they do now today. They had them training at the time, and there were nobodies. And just went in there, and they had a heavyweight guy on the team, and they put me up against him. They told me to go live. All I knew what to do is to wrestle. So anytime you throw a punch, I just double leg him, slam him down. Or we get in grappling exchanges, I'd throw him down. I'd submit him because I didn't know anything. I just knew wrestling moves, and I'd just put him into these alligator style grips, these anaconda grips. And not knowing what jiu-jitsu was at the time, I beat the crap out of their heavyweights. So
Not knowing how to throw a kick or a punch, you're just going boom with your wrestling skills.
not at all. Just went in there with just raw talent, and I ended up doing very, very successfully well. And they pretty much said, all right, so this is the thing. We want you. Here's a bag. Here's mouth guard. Here's gloves. Here's shin guards. Here's clothing. Here's a bunch of stuff. And it was probably a couple $100 worth of gear. And to me, I was just like, oh, okay, like,
Sure.
I'll take it.
We'll see you tomorrow.
This is you. Here you go. And so they gave it to me, and they're like, "You're fighting." They literally said, "You're fighting for us." And I didn't tell my dad at all that I was fighting.